Lindsay the Librarian here with another episode of the Book Report, sharing all the library and book-related news you need to know about this month. So first up, some library news and programs to be aware of. So this Saturday, the 16th, is Batman Day, and we're having a celebration at Union West at 1 o'clock. Friday, the 22nd, is Hobbit Day in Marshville, and that starts at 4 o'clock. Tuesday, the 26th, also in Marshville, we're having a disaster preparation fundamentals class with the Red Cross, which is kind of timely in light of current events. And Wednesday, the 27th, in Monroe at 6:30, we're having a history of Catawba Indian pottery. And Sunday, October 1st, so this is getting into October, in Monroe at 3 o'clock, we're having an Hispanic Heritage Month celebration featuring oboist Javier Perez. So that should be fun for the entire family. And also this month in Library News, we have a new website coming soon. So be on the lookout for that and check our social media for updates on when to expect that to happen. All right, that was really quick, but let's get into books. So first of all, we have Young Jane Young by Gabrielle Zevin, who also wrote The Storied Life of A.J. Fikry. So this is the follow-up to that. And if you haven't read that, you definitely should, because it is really good and really sweet, and it's about books. Okay, so in this one, Aviva Grossman is an ambitious congressional intern in Florida, and she makes the mistake of having an affair with her boss and blogging about it. When the affair comes to light, the beloved congressman doesn't take the fall. But Aviva does, and her life is over before it hardly begins. Slut-shamed, she becomes a late-night talk show punchline, anathema to politics. She sees no way out but to change her name and move to a remote town in Maine. This time, she tries to be smarter about her life and strives to raise her daughter, Ruby, to be strong and confident. But when, at the urging of others, Aviva decides to run for public office herself, that long-ago mistake trails her via the internet and catches up, an inescapable Scarlet A. In the digital age, the past is never, ever truly past. And it's only a matter of time until Ruby finds out who her mother was and is forced to reconcile that person with the one she knows. Young Jane Young is a smart, funny, and moving novel about what it means to be a woman of any age, and captures not just the mood of our recent, highly charged political season, but also the double standards alive and well in every aspect of life for women. And it got a star review from Kirkus and was a Library Reads and Indie Next pick. Right, next we have Emma in the Night by Wendy Walker, and she is the best-selling author of All Is Not Forgotten, and it's a thriller about two missing sisters, a twisted family, and what happens when one girl comes back. One night, 3 years ago, the Tanner sisters disappeared, 15-year-old Cass and 17-year-old Emma. 3 years later, Cass returns without her sister Emma. Her story is one of kidnapping and betrayal of a mysterious island where the two were held. But to forensic psychiatrist Dr. Abby Winter, something doesn't add up. Looking deep within this dysfunctional family, Dr. Winter uncovers a life where boundaries were violated and a narcissistic parent held sway, and where one sister's return might just be the beginning of the crime. And it got a star review from Booklist and Publishers Weekly. Right, next we have The World of Tomorrow by Brendan Matthews. It's June 1939. Francis Dempsey and his shell-shocked brother Michael are on an ocean liner from Ireland bound for their brother Martin's home in New York City, having stolen a small fortune from the IRA. That doesn't sound like a good idea. During the week that follows, the lives of these three brothers collide spectacularly with big band jazz musicians, a talented but fragile heiress, a Jewish street photographer facing a return to Nazi-occupied Prague, a vengeful mob boss, and the ghost of their own family's revolutionary past. When Tom Cronin, an erstwhile assassin forced into one last job, tracks the brothers down, their lives begin to fracture. Francis must surrender to blackmail or have his family suffer fatal consequences. Michael, lost and wandering alone, turns to Lily Block, a heartsick artist, to recover his decimated memory, and Martin and his wife, Rosemary, try to salvage their marriage and ultimately the lives of the other Dempseys. Meanwhile, with the Depression receding, all of New York is infused with an electric feeling of hope, caught up in the fervor of the World's Fair and eager for good times after a decade of deprivation. There's a lot in this book. From the smoky jazz joints of Harlem to the opulent Plaza Hotel, from the garrets of vagabonds and artists in the Bowery to the backroom warrens and shadowy warehouses of mobsters in Hell's Kitchen, Brendan Matthews brings the pre-war metropolis to vivid, pulsing life. The sweeping, intricate, and ambitious storytelling throughout this remarkable debut reveals an America that blithely hoped it could avoid another catastrophic war and focus instead on the promise of the World's Fair, a peaceful, prosperous world of tomorrow. And this one got a star review from pretty much everyone: Library Journal, Publishers Weekly, Booklist, and Kirkus. Up next, we've got a nonfiction story called Ranger Games, and it's a story of soldiers, family, and an inexplicable crime by Ben Bloom. Alex Bloom was a good kid, a popular high school hockey star from a tight-knit Colorado family. He had one goal in life: endure a brutally difficult selection program, become a U.S. Army Ranger, and fight terrorists for his country. He poured everything into achieving his dream. In the first hours of his final leave before deployment to Iraq, Alex was supposed to fly home to see his family and beloved girlfriend. Instead, he got into his car with two fellow soldiers and two strangers, drove to a local bank in Tacoma, and committed armed robbery. The question that haunted the entire Bloom family was why? Why would he ruin his life in such a spectacularly foolish way? At first, Alex insisted he thought the robbery was just another exercise in the famously daunting Ranger program. That's an interesting defense. His attorney presented a case based on the theory that the Ranger indoctrination mirrored that of a cult. In the midst of his own personal crisis, and in the hopes of helping both Alex and his splintering family cope, Ben Bloom, Alex's first cousin, delved into these mysteries, growing closer to Alex in the process. As he probed further, Ben began to question not only Alex, but the influence of his superior, Luke Elliott Summer, the man who planned the robbery. A charismatic combat veteran, Summer's manipulative tendencies combined with a magnetic personality pulled Ben into a relationship that put his loyalties to the test. So this one got a star review from Publishers Weekly also. All right, up next we have They Both Die at the End by Adam Silvera, which is pretty much a title and a spoiler alert at the same time. So prepare yourselves. You're probably going to need some tissues. This is in the tradition of Before I Fall and If I Stay, and it's a tour de force from acclaimed author Adam Silvera, whose debut the New York Times called profound. It reminds us that there's no life without death, no love without loss, and that it's possible to change your whole world in a day. On September 5th, a little after midnight, Death Cast calls Mateo Torres and Rufus Emeterio to give them some bad news. They're going to die today. Mateo and Rufus are total strangers, but for different reasons, they're both looking to make a new friend on their end day. The good news is there's an app for that. It's called The Last Friend, and through it, Rufus and Mateo are about to meet up for one last great adventure. An unforgettable day that will change both their lives forever. But don't forget, they both die at the end, so you're going to need some tissues. Let me say, I can't reiterate that enough. And it got a star review from Booklist, Publishers Weekly, Kirkus, and School Library Journal. All right, up next we have Warcross by Marie Lu, and this one's my pick for this month. For the millions who log in every day, Warcross isn't just a game, it's a way of life. The obsession started 10 years ago, and its fan base now spans the globe. Some eager to escape from reality, and others hoping to make a profit. Struggling to make ends meet, teenage hacker Amika Chen works as a bounty hunter, tracking down Warcross players who bet on the game illegally. But the bounty hunting world is a competitive one, and survival has not been easy. Needing to make some quick cash, Amika takes a risk and hacks into the opening game of the International Warcross Championships, only to accidentally glitch herself into the action and become an overnight sensation. Convinced she's going to be arrested, Amika is shocked when instead she gets a call from the game's creator, the elusive young billionaire Hideo Tanaka, with an irresistible offer. I love elusive young billionaires, just for the record. He needs a spy on the inside of this year's tournament in order to uncover a security problem, and he wants Amika for the job. With no time to lose, Amika's whisked off to Tokyo and thrust into a world of fame and fortune that she's only dreamed of. But soon her investigation uncovers a sinister plot with major consequences for the entire Warcross empire. The sci-fi thriller by #1 New York Times bestseller Marie Lu, who also wrote the Legend series, one of my favorite series ever, and more recently the Young Elites. And so this is her new one. And it's an exhilarating world where choosing who to trust may be the biggest gamble of all. And it received a star review from Booklist, Kirkus, and School Library Journal. All right, and last we have a super cute picture book, Tea with Oliver, by Mika Song, who wrote and illustrated it, and this is her debut book. And it's a heartwarming and beautifully illustrated story about an unexpected friendship between a cat and mouse. Oliver is not like other cats. He likes cookies with tea and just wants a friend to share them with. Filbert is the shy mouse who lives under Oliver's couch. He tries to get Oliver's attention by writing him notes, but Oliver doesn't seem to notice little Filbert. So from Mika Song comes a story that shows how friends can come in all shapes and sizes in the most unexpected places. And it received a star review from Kirkus, and there's also another Oliver and Filbert coming in 2019 if you're huge fans. So that's all the books and library news that we have to share for September this month. So until next time, keep reading Union County, and you can look for us on social media if you need some updates between book reports. All right, bye.